All right, the things you should know this week, as always, check the back of your bulletin. There's lots of things on there that are scheduled. It's a reminder that Judy Houston's memorial service is Saturday, October 18th here in the sanctuary, 2 p.m. The Halloween party is here on October 31st. We're providing the pizza. Everything else will be potluck. So please sign up on the sign-up sheet out on Lanai so we know how many to expect and what kind of dish you want to bring. Costumes are optional but welcome, and we do need helpers before and after to help keep things going. Please silence any electronics you have here with you today. Let's see. We are signing up this week leaders for Sage Circles. If you want to lead a Sage Circle, please catch up with me this week. You can email me, message me, text me, or call me. If you want to lead one, once I get the leaders, then we will be doing the sign-ups for the groups. And Sage Circles, for those of you who don't remember, are the small group ministries. They're little discussion groups. They're fun. They last for about 6 months, and then that group dissolves, and we make new groups next year. So sign-ups are coming. Community outreach will be collecting new toys for Jesse's Toy Box today and next week. Jesse's Toy Box was founded by a little boy undergoing cancer treatments, and he wanted every child undergoing treatment to receive a gift of a toy to help alleviate their pain and fear. They distribute toys to hospitals, emergency rooms, infusion centers, and first responders. So please see Janet Knudsen for a list of specific items requested. They are collecting out on Lanai. This month's designated collection is for Also Youth. Also Youth's focus is on empowering LGBTQ plus youth and their allies and in creating inclusive communities. There will be a very brief safety and security meeting after church today. It'll be short, but if you want to hear about the newest things we are doing to keep this congregation safe, please hang out for 10 minutes or so after the service. And a fun one I got today, Banned Books Week ended on 10/11 yesterday, and the Banned Book Contest has 3 winners. The book was Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. The winners are Jean Spitzer, Anna Drelios, and Laura Olson. Yay! So each will get a small prize. Congratulations to them, and thanks to everyone who participated. I think that's all I got for the day. Oh, do you want to come up and do that one? Come up and give that info because it's important and I don't want to blow it.
Hi, everyone. We are finally planning a trip, and it's not just UCOV that's doing it, but other organizations, including UU Sarasota and a few other organizations. So we are planning a trip to the Big Cypress National Preserve, where the alligator Alcatraz is located. So the date is November 8th, and it's a Saturday, and we are going to be meeting here at 7:30 p.m. We chartered a bus. A.m. Did I say p.m.? Okay. I'm not used to being in front of a crowd of people. So remember, November 8th at 7:30 a.m. here in the parking lot. If you want to sign up, there's a sign-up sheet in the back in the Lanai, and you can pay by check or QR code. So I have a flyer out there, and I also have a sign-up sheet. So I hope some of you can make it. I know it's early, but I think it really is important that we go there in support of our indigenous community who have been protectors of the Everglades and also protest the inhumane and terrible detention of our immigrant community. This has to stop. So I hope some of you, I know not everyone can make it, but I hope some of you can make it. Thank you.
Let them know if money is an object, talk to me, we'll pay.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. I forgot all the most important thing. It's $30 because we have to pay for the bus. And there is some scholarship money if you really want to go, but you're short of funds. So, don't let not having money stop you from participating in this and supporting our environment, the Everglades, national treasure, and also protesting what's going on at the detention center. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice, known fondly as UCOV. Welcome to this gathering of love and spirit, of questions and courage. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever path has led you here, you are welcome in this space of open hearts and searching souls. Today we turn our attention to two words that don't often find their way to the center of our Unitarian Universalist conversations: grace and faith. They're words with long histories, sometimes burdened with meanings that don't quite fit our theology. Yet, if we listen closely, they may have something beautiful to teach us. Grace, that quiet, unexpected gift of life that meets us even when we haven't earned it. Faith, not blind belief, but the deep trust that love is real, that hope matters, that we belong to something larger than ourselves. In a world that can be sharp-edged and hurried, we come together to practice these things, to offer grace to one another, and to strengthen our faith in what is good and kind and possible. So let us quiet our racing thoughts, open our hearts, and begin. Let us build, once again, a community of love and welcome where grace flows freely and faith grows quietly among us. Welcome home. Okay. We light this chalice and we remember the words of Mary Oliver. You can have the other words: chance, luck, coincidence, serendipity. I'll take grace. I don't know what it is exactly, but I'll take it. May we always take grace.
I'd just like to say a brief word about the pieces that I'm going to be playing in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. The first composer is Ernesto Lecuona, La Comparsa. A comparsa is a band of street musicians that come into town from far away, come up close, loud, and then leave. That's what you're going to hear. And you're going to hear a little drum beginning. And the second piece that I'll play for the interlude is a piece by L.A. Calvo, Colombian composer. It's a dance entitled Malva Loca, which is a flower. They called Calvo the Chopin of Colombia. And he was, unfortunately, a leper and died in a leper colony. So I hope you enjoy the music today, and I'll begin with a fun, upbeat comparsa.
I was thinking this week about how hard it is to talk about grace and faith without sounding like we've all wandered into somebody else's Baptist church. Those words have baggage for some of us. For some of us, they have actual luggage. They've been used in ways that make us flinch and hurt. For some of us, the words are great. But here's the important thing: grace and faith belong to everybody. Grace is what happens when the world surprises us with kindness we didn't do anything to earn or cause. It's when someone forgives us even though we were pretty sure we didn't deserve it. Or when the sunrise catches us off guard and reminds us that beauty doesn't need our permission to exist. And faith, well, faith isn't about signing on the dotted line of a creed. It's a quiet voice that says, I will keep showing up. I will keep believing in love even when love is hard. It's the stubborn, sometimes bullheaded courage to get up again and keep building community, keep planting seeds of hope, even when we cannot see the harvest yet. That's faith. So today we're going to wander around in that landscape, and we're going to talk about jazz a little bit. We're going to talk about where grace meets faith and where both meet us exactly where we are. A little messy, a little broken, a little uncertain, but we're still here. We're still trying. We're still believing that love and justice are worth the work. I'm so glad you are here just as you are, so come and let us worship here together. Now, we are going to be brave today. We are going to rise in body or spirit and join in our opening hymn, number 1046, Shall We Gather at the River? Let's see if we can make it through this one. We don't do it often.
ask about my wife, and we are just grateful for that support. We are giving to Also Youth today, as you know. You've read, you've heard about it. And my wife and I are monthly supporters of this organization. And here's something else. My wife she's a songwriter, and she had a collection of guitars. And as time is going on now, she is gifting her guitars to people in her life that she knows would like to have them. And she gifted one that was signed by Melissa Etheridge to Also Youth. And this is the note we got. That is so awesome. I shared your email with my colleagues at our meeting on Tuesday, and they were thrilled. We are all Melissa Etheridge fans, so we're all a little giddy. But it's also super cool because we have our public grand opening on Saturday, and that was yesterday, and I'm finishing setting up the little stage area today. The guitar will be an awesome decoration to complete the vibe. I'll send photos. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Every week we do our offering words with a little bit of a joke because we don't want giving to be painful. So here's this week's reason for sending me to hell. And some of you may be old enough to remember Flip Wilson. How many of you remember Flip Wilson? All right. He used to tell the story of a preacher who was trying to get his people to be more enthusiastic about their church. And in his sermon said, if this church is going to get anywhere, it has to learn to crawl. And the people said, let it crawl, Reverend, let it crawl. And then he said, and once it learns to crawl, it has to learn to walk. And the people said, let it walk, Reverend, let it walk. And then he got real excited and he said, after this church learns to walk, it has to learn to run. And if this church is going to learn to run, it takes money. And the people said, let it crawl, Reverend, let it crawl. Now, I am lousy at crawling, so this morning's offering will now be given and gratefully received. Thank you so much for everything you've given today and for everything that you give for the life and the work of this community. Because the community is what matters. We come together here as a community of human hands and human hearts. We come together as we struggle with life's sorrows and we celebrate life's joys. If you have something you want to share with your community today, please raise a hand. And Tom or Tony will bring you a microphone.
I'm Jean Spitzer. John is fine. He packed his sports grip with lots of volleyball equipment, clean underwear, clean socks. And he is in southwestern Utah, St. George, Mormon country, playing in the seniors volleyball tournament, age 78 and 80.
I want to thank you for wishing me a birthday, since my birthday is this month. And I've always wondered why it's never been, it's melancholy. until I started writing an autobiography. And when I was born, I didn't meet my dad until I was over 2.5 years old. He came back from the South Pacific when the war was over and walked into my life. And he and I have had a strange relationship ever since. And we never knew why until we both said, it was probably because of that. And so thank you for wishing me a happy birthday, but it's, I receive it with some remorse for that experience. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Lil Hip. I'm sure you've seen the advertising, but on October 18th, there is a national march for the King's March, which is no King's March. Anyway, so I'm hoping that you can attend. I'm planning on it. Thank you.
I just wanted to tell people that our dear friend Olga Hebert broke her hip a couple weeks back, and she had it pinned at the hospital here. She's now home and recovering nicely, but we all need to be thinking of Olga, and cards are more than welcome. We love you, Olga, if you're listening and watching.
I'm Marianne. I just wanted to say how honored I am to be given the mic by Tom Reeves. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be home.
Reverend Amy, Diwali next week?
Yeah, we have announcements out, but I'll make another one. Next week, we are talking about the holiday of Diwali, and part of the celebration of that holiday is sharing sweets with each other. Candy, cookies, some type of little sweets. So I have asked that if you can next week, bring a little something to share. Doesn't have to be a big something. Traditionally, everybody brings little plates of things and they exchange them around. I don't care if it's a bag of M&Ms. Bring a little something. Put it out. Is it okay to put it out on the treat table?
Oh, sure.
We'll put it out on the treat table to share after the service. And we'll be talking about why we share treats and sweets. So, what we got? This week, may the love of our community hold all those who need love and concern. And may the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May those who are grieving be comforted, and those who are tired find rest. And may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant.
Our first reading is from Because I'm Yours by Scott Higgins. Our middle daughter had been previously adopted by another family. I'm sure this couple had the best of intentions, but they never quite integrated the adopted child into their family of biological children. After a couple of rough years, they dissolved the adoption. And we ended up welcoming an 8-year-old girl into our home. For one reason or another, whenever our daughter's previous family vacationed at Disney World, they took their biological children with them, but they left their adopted daughter with a family friend. Usually, at least in the child's mind, this happened because she did something wrong, that precluded her presence on the trip. And so, by the time we adopted our daughter, she had seen many pictures of Disney World, and she had heard about the rides and the characters and the parades. But when it came to passing through the gates of the Magic Kingdom, she had always been the one left on the outside. Once I found out about this history, I made plans to take her to Disney World the next time a speaking engagement took our family to the southeastern United States. I thought I had mastered the Disney World drill. I knew from previous experiences that the prospect of seeing cast members in freakishly oversized mouse and duck costumes somehow turns children into squirming bundles of emotional instability. What I didn't expect was that the prospect of visiting this dream world would produce a stream of downright devilish behavior in our newest daughter. In the month leading up to our trip to the Magic Kingdom, she stole food when a simple request would have gained her a snack. She lied when it would have been easier to tell the truth. She whispered insults that were carefully crafted to hurt her older sister as deeply as possible. And as the days on the calendar moved closer to the trip, her mutinies multiplied. A couple of days before our family headed to Florida, I pulled our daughter into my lap to talk through her latest escapade. "I know what you're going to do," she said flatly. "You're not going to take me to Disney World, are you?" The thought hadn't actually crossed my mind, but her downward spiral suddenly started to make some sense. In retrospect, I'm embarrassed to admit that in that moment, I was tempted to turn her fear to my own advantage. The easiest response would have been, "If you don't start behaving better, you're right, we won't take you." But by God's grace, I didn't. Instead, I asked her, "Is this trip something we're doing as a family?" She nodded, brown eyes wide and tear-rimmed. "Are you part of this family?" She nodded again. "Then you're going with us. Sure, there may be some consequences to help you remember what's right and what's wrong, but you're part of our family, and we're not leaving you behind." I'd like to say that her behaviors grew better after that moment. They didn't. Her choices pretty much spiraled out of control at every hotel and rest stop, all the way to Lake Buena Vista. Still, we headed to Disney World on the day we had promised, and it was a typical Disney day. Overpriced tickets, overpriced meals, and lots of lines, mingled with just enough manufactured magic to consider maybe going again someday. In our hotel room that evening, a very different child emerged. She was exhausted, pensive, and a little weepy at times, but her month-long facade of rebellion had faded. When bedtime rolled around, I held her and asked, "So how was your first day at Disney World?" She closed her eyes and snuggled down into her stuffed unicorn. After a few moments, she opened her eyes ever so slightly. "Daddy," she said, "I finally got to go to Disney World. But it wasn't because I was good. It's because I'm yours." It wasn't because I was good. It was because I'm yours. That's the message of outrageous grace. Take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. Let the noise of the world fall back a few steps. Grace is not something we earn, it's something that finds us. It finds us in the small mercies of the day. A cup of coffee handed to us with a smile. A friend who calls at just the right moment. A bird that sings outside the window when we thought the world had forgotten how to make music. Faith isn't certainty. It's the willingness to keep walking. Even when the map is smudged and the road is uneven, it's trusting that the next breath will come and that love somehow will meet us there. So in this moment, let grace rest on your shoulders like a shawl, soft, unearned, enough. Let faith be the quiet rhythm of your heart, reminding you that you belong, that you are not alone, that you are loved, and that love is enough. Breathe in grace, breathe out love, and let this be enough for now. With these words in mind, please join me in one moment of silent thought, meditation, or prayer. with Lisa. Our second reading is Small Moments by Anonymous. There are moments in life when we stop trying so hard and something gentle slips in through the cracks. Call it grace, call it faith, call it that small voice inside that whispers, "You are still enough." Grace doesn't fix the world. It doesn't erase the hard parts. It just sits beside us in the middle of them, offering a hand, a breath, a heartbeat that says, "Keep going." Faith isn't the absence of doubt. It's the courage to live kindly, to love again after loss, to believe, even for one more day, that light can find us. So when the silence comes, let it be a prayer without words, a moment wide enough for grace to find its way in. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 1007, "There's a River Flowing in My Soul."
Christian churches will tell you that grace is God's unearned favor toward you. And faith is belief without evidence. In one of his books, Stephen King tells you, through a character, that faith is something a little different. In the book, his character, a doctor, is talking to his little girl, Ellie, whose cat has been killed. And she's angry about this idea of faith. And he says, "Listen, look over there. Do you see that chair?" And she says, "Yes." And he says, "Do you believe it will be here tomorrow?" And she kind of smiles and she says, "Yes, of course it will be." And he says, "But you don't know that. Some crazed chair burglar might break in tonight and steal that chair. He said, but you have faith. You believe that the chair will be here tomorrow. You have no evidence of that. And I liked that. I liked that idea. I liked where he was going with that, and I started to think about it. And so the title of this service is Grace and Faith and all that jazz, and yes, it is meant to sound like a jam session, because that's what life is. Kind of a beautiful, messy improvisation. You learn a few scales, you practice your rhythm, you show up with what you have, and you listen, really listen for the next notes and what they might be, and you take a breath, and you trust that when your turn comes, you'll find something that fits. Sometimes you hit an absolutely wrong note. Sometimes you do something amazing, and sometimes you have no idea what you're doing. You just keep playing until something makes sense. In many ways, that is grace and faith. It's much closer to Stephen King's description. Not doctrines carved in stone, but rhythms, understandings, movements in the song of our lives. When we talk about grace, for those of you who are jazz fans, grace is the surprise in the music. It's that minute when the band hits a note no one expected and somehow it works. It's the saxophonist who drops a beat and the drummer who catches it midair and the audience who leans in and says, oh wow, that turned out good. Grace is not something you make happen. You can't do anything to get grace. It's something that happens to us if we're open to it. In UUism, we don't often use the word grace, maybe because it's been wrapped around ideas like sin and salvation. And those don't always fit what we talk about. But grace in its most universal sense is the unearned blessing and beauty of being alive. It's the love that meets us where we are and the kindness that catches us when we fall short. The second chances that arrive before we've even finished screwing up the first time. Jazz musicians know that kind of grace. They live it every time they get on stage. Because all of jazz is built on trust. Trust that something beautiful can emerge out of imperfection and improvisation. And isn't that what grace feels like? That moment that you can realize that you need to stop trying to control absolutely everything, to let go and live your life. And the music keeps on going. It doesn't come to a screeching halt. I remember once hearing a jazz pianist talk about the beauty of dissonance. He said, without dissonance, there is no resolution. Without tension, there's no sweetness in the release. That's grace also. The music isn't beautiful because it's perfect. It's beautiful because it resolves the imperfections. Grace doesn't erase our mistakes. Someone granting you grace, life granting you grace, doesn't take away what happened. It doesn't pretend that the wrong note wasn't hit. It just lets us keep playing until it all starts to sound beautiful again. Think about the minutes in your life where someone forgave you and you didn't deserve it. When a friend showed up even though you'd been distant and hadn't called or emailed him for weeks. When a stranger smiled at you on a hard day. Those moments are grace, little mercies that tell us we're still worthy, still loved, still part of the band, no matter what else is going on in our lives. In jazz, grace also means listening. You can't play good jazz without listening to the other musicians. You have to hear where the others are going, leave them spaces, respond to what they give, It's a conversation in sound. And grace in community is the same thing. It's learning to listen to each other with generosity. And when the rhythm changes and when the tune isn't what we expected, it's learning just to go with the flow for a minute to see where that melody goes. Grace says you don't have to play it perfectly, but stay in the song. If grace is the melody, then faith is the rhythm section underneath, steady and pulsing and holding it up. Faith is the part that says, I believe there will be a chair. I believe. And it's another one of those words that we approach carefully. We like evidence in general. We like reason. We like to know what we are signing up for. But faith isn't about believing in the right things. It's about trust. It's trusting in music that if you take a solo, the rest of the band will have your back and not start playing over you. It's trusting that the notes will come, that the audience will meet you halfway, that the music is strong enough to hold your fear. That's the kind of faith we need in our spiritual lives, not certainty, but trust. Trust that life, for all its complexity, is still worth living. Trust that even when the world feels dissonant and uncertain, we can create something beautiful together. In jazz ensembles, the bass player doesn't always get the spotlight, but they provide the heartbeat. And the music only works because there's faith in that rhythm, faith in one another, faith that when someone loses their way, the band will find them again and pull them back in. We work the same way. We are a band of arguers and believers and doubters and skeptics and dreamers and theologians. And somehow we each bring our own instrument, our own mind, our own tempo, our own story, and we play together. We stumble sometimes, we find our way back, we keep going. The point isn't perfection. It's belonging while we are improvising. Because improvisation is at the heart of both jazz and spiritual life. With spirituality, you are always flying by the seat of your pants and there are no guide wires. It's the art of showing up with what you have and trusting that it's enough. And every Sunday, in some way, we practice that art together, whether it's doing a hymn we don't often do, presenting a new idea to mull over. We don't come to church because we have all the answers. We come because we're still learning the song. We're still writing the song. We come to listen, to find that heartbeat rhythm again, to let grace and faith remind us how to play. Sometimes life throws us an unexpected key change. We lose someone we love, we get sick, a job ends, a plan collapses, and we find ourselves standing in a silence that we didn't ask for. And that's when grace and faith start to sound different. The tempo may be slow and the notes tender, but if we keep listening, the music is still there. Because faith doesn't mean we won't ever lose our place. It just means that when we do, we believe, we have faith that the music itself will go on. The world may be bad, but there is goodness. We can find it again. We can build it again. Life may be rough, but there is love, and there is joy, and there is happiness possible, and we will find it. It will come back around with a little help. You know, in jazz, every instrument matters. The trumpet, the bass, the snare drum, the soft brushes against the cymbals. Each one brings something that the others can't, and take one away and the whole melody feels smaller. The same is true with us. Grace means understanding that each person adds something to the harmony. The quiet ones and the loud ones, the questioners and the certain ones, the ones who clap on 2 and 4, and the ones who bless their hearts clap on 1 and 3. We all belong here. We all belong here. Faith is believing, daring to believe that the song is better when everyone is in it. From the virtuoso and the diva to the person whose voice sounds like chalk on a chalkboard, without you, we'd be less. The world needs more people who understand the idea of jazz. Not just the music, but the way of being that jazz teaches, the way of listening and trusting and responding, because our global song has a lot of dissonance right now. It's full of competing rhythms, clashing keys, players who are certain that their melody is the only one worth playing. And what grace and faith invite us to do is to listen differently, to find the rhythm of love under the noise, to lean into the tension and trust that as long as we stay present and keep going and keep adding our part to the song, it will resolve. Theologian Reinhold Niebuhr once said, "Nothing worth doing can be accomplished in a single lifetime. Therefore, we are saved by hope. Nothing true or beautiful makes complete sense in any immediate context. Therefore, we are saved by faith." Jazz musicians live that truth every night. They never play the exact same song twice. They trust that even the unfinished, imperfect moment matters, and we can live that way too. We can be people who bring grace to the table, who offer forgiveness instead of fury, who make room for others to find their rhythm. It doesn't mean that we ask you to keep repeating the horrible blatting sound, but we give you the space to come back to harmony. We can be people of faith, not blind belief, but deep trust in the possibility of goodness. So imagine just for a minute that your life is a jazz piece. You don't control all the instruments, but you get to play your part. You get to listen, to respond, to improvise, to leave space for others. There will be dissonance. There will be bad notes. There will be moments when you think you've lost the beat, but grace will find you. Faith will keep time, and together we will make music that heals the world. Because grace is what allows us to keep loving, even after we've missed all the notes. Faith is what keeps us playing when the melody is uncertain, and all that jazz is everything else. The laughter, the friendship, the coffee hour conversations, the work for justice, dancing in the aisles, singing. That's the rhythm of life itself. So may we go from here ready to listen for grace in the ordinary, to trust the rhythm of faith that beats under it all, and to join in a great improvisation of love with open hearts. And if we're lucky, or maybe graced, maybe we'll even find ourselves tapping our feet to the music of this moment, the music that reminds us again and again and again that we belong just as we are, whatever note we are playing. Amen. As we extinguish this flame, may we remember that its light does not end here. Grace goes with us in the small mercies we give and receive, in the kindness that surprises us and the courage to keep showing up, even when the way is not clear, And faith goes with us too, not as certainty, but as trust. That love still matters, that hope still grows, and that we are never alone in this work of being human. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn this week, number 298, Wake Now My Senses, we're going to do verses 1 and 2. We're a little short on time. May grace find you in laughter you didn't expect, in beauty you didn't earn, in love that refuses to let you go, and may faith whisper in your ear, you are enough, you are loved, and you are not alone. Go in peace, go in hope, go wrapped in the quiet, shining gift of grace. Peace, Ashe, and may it be so.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to have a brief security question and answer situation if you want to sit down. I promise to make it brief because I want to go out to breakfast. So.